Uterine fibroids, or leiomyomas, are benign tumors that form in the uterus. Research has shown that women of African descent are disproportionately affected by uterine fibroids compared to women of other ethnic backgrounds. The reasons for this disparity are complex and likely involve a combination of genetic, environmental, hormonal, and lifestyle factors. Here are some of the main factors that are thought to contribute. 1. Genetic predisposition. Family history. Uterine fibroids tend to run in families, and women of African descent are more likely to have genetic variations that increase susceptibility to fibroids. Higher genetic susceptibility. Certain genetic markers and gene mutations associated with fibroid development are more common among women of African descent, which may predispose them to developing these tumors. 2. Hormonal factors. Higher estrogen and progesterone levels. Fibroids are hormone sensitive and tend to grow in response to estrogen, and to a lesser extent, progesterone. Studies suggest that women of African descent may have higher levels of estrogen and may metabolize estrogen differently, which could promote fibroid growth. Earlier puberty. On average, girls of African descent tend to reach puberty earlier, leading to a longer exposure to estrogen and progesterone over their lifetime, which may increase the risk of fibroid development. Environmental and lifestyle factors also play a significant role in the development of uterine fibroids. Vitamin D has been shown to help inhibit fibroid growth. Due to differences in skin pigmentation, women with darker skin tones may produce less vitamin D from sunlight exposure, which could increase their risk. Diets high in red meat and lower in green vegetables have been linked to a higher fibroid risk. Additionally, obesity is a known risk factor for fibroids, and obesity rates are often higher in communities of African descent due to socioeconomic and environmental factors. Studies suggest that women of African descent may be more likely to be exposed to certain chemicals, like phthalates, found in some beauty and hair care products. These chemicals can mimic estrogen in the body and potentially increase the risk of fibroids. Inflammation and stress are also crucial factors to consider. High levels of chronic stress, which disproportionately affect women of African descent due to various social and economic factors, have been linked to an increased risk of fibroids. Stress may alter hormone levels and trigger inflammatory pathways associated with fibroid growth. Research has shown that women of African descent may have higher levels of inflammatory markers, which are associated with fibroid formation and growth. Healthcare disparities further compound the issue. Women of African descent are less likely to have consistent access to high-quality healthcare, which can lead to delays in diagnosis and treatment of fibroids. Untreated fibroids can grow larger and cause more severe symptoms over time. Historically, women of African descent have been underrepresented in clinical research, including studies on fibroids. This gap has slowed the progress in understanding specific risk factors and developing tailored treatments for women of African descent. In short, a combination of genetics, hormonal factors, environmental exposures, lifestyle, and systemic healthcare disparities contribute to the increased prevalence of uterine fibroids among African women and women of African descent in general. Addressing these risk factors requires both more focused research and efforts to reduce disparities in healthcare access and environmental exposures.